offset versus redraw. Why broke Aussies pick the wrong one every single time. You want to know the #1 money move keeping every Aussie broke in 2025? Even the ones who actually own property, it's not interest rates, it's not their income, it's them blindly dumping their savings into a redraw account like it's some kind of magic money box, when it's actually a tax trap in disguise. Meanwhile guys, smart investors, they use offset accounts like a silent assassin, shaving years off their loans, stacking tax-free interest savings, and prepping for their next property move. But hey guys, if you'd rather lose 5 figures to your bank instead of learning how it really works, your redraw account is there waiting for you. In this episode of That Property Roast, I'm going to unpack why offset accounts are misunderstood and underused, how redraw facilities can screw your tax strategy, the difference between looking clever and actually building wealth, and real case studies from my own clients, some wins, some face plants. And amongst that, the cold hard numbers to prove it all. So if you ever said to yourself, oh well, offset and redraw accounts are the same thing, Q. Well, this video is for you noobs. And you know what guys? I'm gonna hurt some of your feelings. Firstly guys, Aussies are using offset accounts like a glorified wallet at the moment. According to Finder's 2025 survey, it shows 47% of people with offset accounts aren't using them properly. And 19% admit that they don't even know how it works. It's like owning a Tesla, but never charging it. So let me explain how offset accounts work. Offset accounts are very simple, guys. You have a home loan and you link it to your loan. That account that's linked to your loan is an offset account. Now, every dollar that sits in the offset account, it reduces the amount of loan of interest charged in your home loan. And whilst that money is sitting in your offset account, that money that should be earning interest, which is offsetting your home loan, that is tax free. So let me break it down, guys. If you have a $600,000 loan, and you have $100,000 in offset, the bank is going to charge you interest on $500,000 only. Because the simple math is you have a $600,000 loan and you have $100,000 sitting there. $600,000 minus the offset amount of $100,000. This is assuming this is an interest only loan, of course. The net home loan charge is $500,000. And for example, I got you a rate of 5.99%, or let's say 6% interest only. That's $6,000 per year saved in tax-free interests. Now, I want you to compare that to a savings account that's giving you, for example, a 4% return. Now, according to your average income, and say you're at a tax bracket of 37%, if you put that $100,000 in an interest savings account, I'm telling you right now, you're barely keeping up with inflation on this high interest savings account. Let me give you a real case study, right? I have a client here, her name's Eliza. She's 34 years old. She's a HR director earning $165,000 a year. She refinanced with us about 18 months ago. And just like you guys, she saw me on TikTok, booked a call, and bang, she's our client at the moment. Now, we helped her with the advice of our financial planner and also her accountant. She moved her $80,000 in her ING high interest savings account into her offset account that's offsetting her home loan. Now, that simple move alone have saved her over $4,800 a year. And indirectly, by having that money in her offset account, if she doesn't move it by the end of the 30 years, that literally saves her 4.2 years of her 30 years mortgage. And all she did, guys, was to park her money smarter rather into a high interest savings account, but into an offset account. There was no extra work, it's just better structure. So this is my take, guys. If your money's not sitting in an offset account, it's not working for you. It's just loitering around in the bank's profit margins at the moment. Secondly, in this video, I'm going to talk about redraw accounts is an offset account. And to be practically honest, it's a trap for the uninformed. And let me give you a very simple formula to differentiate the both. A redraw account goes by the formula of redraw equals extra repayment into the loan. However, offset account, the formula is offset equals separate account linked to a loan. And this is the biggest mistake I see, guys. People making extra repayments into redraw accounts. But then when they decide to put on their investor hat on, they go back to the redraw account and pull out that money to buy an investment property. And obviously from hearing from my tone, that's a totally bad move. Why, you ask? Because the ATO doesn't care that you meant well once you repay the loan through the redraw method. Because any money that you redraw is considered now new borrowing. And because if that property is owner-occupied, that new borrowing is considered still owner-occupied debt. And that technically is not 100% tax deductible for investment purposes. And therefore, along that logic, the interest becomes non-tax deductible. Now, this is where I give you another case study. I have a client over here. His name, for example, is Andrew. He's 41 years old. He's an engineer. Through the redraw method, when he was using other banks or the bankers did it for him before he met me, he made $35,000 of extra repayments into his redraw account against his PPOR, which is his prime place of residence, over the last 3 years. What he did next, obviously without financial advice, he did it by himself, right? He then pulled out that $35,000 that he paid extra into the redraw account to bring down the loan. he pulled that back out to then buy a $500,000 investment unit in Brisbane. And the end result is the ATO, when he got audited, ruled that 70% of that interest was only tax deductible. And their reason was because part of that redraw had mixed purpose. And when he filed his tax returns, when he worked with our accountant, in retrospect, we found that he lost $4,600 in deductions in the first year of buying that investment property. So my take, guys, not financial advice. This is just what I see from data from previous clients. Redraw is for noobs. If you're an investor using a redraw account, you're basically going to war with a toy gun. Let me be honest, an offset account is what you need. And again, not financial advice, you can do what the hell you want, but this is the only account that my investor clients use to build out their property portfolio. So no matter what you're doing, if you plan to invest, rent out, or restructure later, I'm telling you right now, redraw accounts will trap you in tax hell. Thirdly, in this video, we're going to look at how offset accounts is a tax-free return haven that no one teaches you about. Right, let's talk about numbers, guys, right? Say you have $70,000 in your offset account. Say the interest rate on average is 6.2% interest only. And for example, in terms of your income, you fall under the tax bracket of 37% tax. Now, if you pop that money into a high interest savings account versus putting that in your offset account, the annual interest saved is $4,340 tax-free. But in retrospect, if you didn't do that, to get the same returns in a savings account, you need to earn over 7.2% interest before tax just to get the same bloody result by putting that money in your offset account. Which, if you do the math through, CanStar and all those finders.com bloody websites, you literally will not find a term deposit account that returns 7.2%. That doesn't exist. And I'm telling you guys, unlike income, that saving that you have over here, it will compound. Like for example, if you left that money here for the next 10 years, you're looking at, on average, if I do my numbers correctly, approximately $43,000 saved just from parking your money in the right account. Now, let me give you another client case study, right? I have a couple clients over here, right? Their name is Darren and Jess. They're both teachers and they combined have a $950,000 mortgage. Now, due to extreme luck, well, maybe not, their grandma passed away, they inherited $100,000. They parked this money in an offset account. And along with that, they budgeted aggressively. With the help of our independent financial advisors and also working with our different accountants, we helped them split their loan into 5 portions. And then with that, we use offset accounts to pair with each of these 5 loans. And on top of their financial planner's advice, we devised a 9-year debt reduction strategy. Now, currently, they've been doing this since 2021. And from speaking with them last week and also with their financial planner, by this strategy alone, they'll probably be mortgage free by 2033. So this is my take, guys. An offset account is not just about savings. It's not just about a place to chuck your extra money in. If used correctly, it's a strategic tool for people who think long term. Fourthly, guys, in this video, did you know the money in your redraw account can be frozen? Yes, that's correct, guys. Here's the part the banks don't tell you about. Like in times of economic crisis, like for example during COVID, let's say the bank, for example, not a major bank like a credit union or a smaller 4th tier bank, and I know most of you use them because you're bloody cheapos, you want the lowest rate, and you go with these no frills banks, right? Did you know that the money in the redraw account can actually be frozen? Like, if you don't believe me, go check your mortgage terms, right? Look at the terms and conditions. Like during the 2008 GFC and early COVID days, some Aussie banks actually froze the redraw access without notice. Because when you read the fine print, guys, your redraw account is technically inside your loan. Think about it. When you put money in your redraw account, was there like a separate bank account? No, right? It's just within your goddamn loan. And technically that money that goes into a redraw account, that's not your money in a legal sense. It's just available credit. But on the other hand, if you had an offset account, if you don't mind paying the annual package fee, or maybe without the annual package fee, there's a monthly fee, which by the way is just petty change if you're an investor, that is your account. The money sitting in that account has a legal moat around it that protects it from any banks or institution from freezing that money, regardless if the bank is going bankrupt. Like, let me give you another story. This is not my client. This is a client that I heard from another broker. Her name's, for example, Nikki. Not her real name, obviously, but Nikki. She's a single mom in healthcare. She had $35,000 in redraw during the COVID days. I'm not going to name this bank, but it's a 2nd tier bank, right? They froze her money for 3 weeks during the liquidity panic in 2020. You know those lockdown days? And she actually needed the money for an emergency event during that time. But you know what? She couldn't touch it. Now, just last year, I don't know, through word of mouth or she saw one of my videos, we made contact. And while we were doing the fact find, she was telling me that story. I'm like, oh, wait, I've heard of that story. You're that lady. And she's like, yeah, that was me. But right now, after that event that scarred her, she now believes in paying for the benefit of having an offset account. And currently at the moment, even though she has a redraw account, we also open her up with an offset account. But for her redraw account, she doesn't have more than $1,000 sitting in there. Whilst for her offset account, this is where she parks all her money. She currently has about like $60,000 sitting there. So this is my take, guys, right? A redraw account, yeah, it's cheap, or maybe it's for free. Or maybe you think, oh my God, I have another offset account. It's too much for me. I just want the simpleness. I want the minimalist approach. And I get it, right? You don't want the hassle of managing too many accounts, but you got to think about it. In times of crisis, will the bank freeze your money? Now, in this part of the video, I'm going to move on to my 5th point. This is called the power combo formula, which is broken down to offset plus debt recycling plus split loans equal the power combo most noobs investors never learn. That's right, guys. This is where we're going to get into elite level strategy. But again, not financial advice. Because our offset account alone is great. But when you combine it with a split loan structure, then debt recycling, then smart tax planning with an independent accountant and also an independent advisor, this new system will help you build an engine for wealth. And right now, you're scratching your head and thinking, hey Q, what does that even mean? That doesn't make sense to me. That's fine, guys. Relax. Let me show you how it works. First step is highlight your North Star. What is your objective? If you have an owner-occupied property and you have an owner-occupied debt, your first objective is to pay down the non-deductible PPOR portion. And again, PPOR stands for prime place of residence. Once you've paid this non-deductible debt down to a major percentage, for example, 60% to even 80% of the market value of your property, you add in the debt recycling strategy, which is to re-borrow that money and classify that new loan split as an investment debt. And after you've done that, you move those funds into the offset account, make this loan interest only. So during the period that you don't use it, there's no interest repayments charged. But in the event that you do use it, that money in this new split is tax deductible. And then from this foundation, you start splitting and splitting and splitting different loan splits and then pair it with different offset accounts and then rinse and repeat. Here's another case study to give you some numbers so you can wrap your head around it, right? We have a client here that came to us about 2 years ago. Her name's Jules. She's 38. She's a dentist and she's earning $250,000 a year. With the help of an independent financial advisor and an independent accountant, with her $1.2 million mortgage, we tactically split this loan into 3 home loan splits. And on the original loan, which is a PPL loan, we set up a debt recycling strategy. And because she has a dentist practice, all her business income and all her director's wages are directed into the offset account that we designed for her. And with her financial planner's help, with the independent advice, within 2.5 years, she turned that $310,000 of bad debt, which I termed the owner-occupied debt, that has been recycled into our investment debt when she used that to buy an investment property. Because throughout that process, when we paired it with a pre-approval, she went and bought 2 townhouses in Perth. And at this moment, as I spoke to her accountant last week, she's currently claiming over $18,000 in tax deductions per year. And at this moment, as we did her annual review on her home loan, she still has $60,000 in her offset account ready to pounce on the next deal. So guys, this is my take. Our offset account is not just, an account where I stash all my money willy-nilly. When you actually know how to use an offset account, it's actually where smart people store the next $1 million play. Because guys, here comes the roast. Let's be blunt, guys. Most rate-chasing brokers, banks, and even influencers always push, get the redraw account. It's got no annual fee, cheap rate, no frills. You don't need to pay anything. And then you noobs out there who think, oh my God, I want to save on the penny. Save on the $5 a month interest repayment. And you get this product set up. And then you find out as you rush out toward into the property market, you have a toy gun competing with savvy investors that will beat your ass in property accumulation. And I'm telling you right now, those are mostly my clients. Bruh. Or maybe some of you who got poor advice using their redraw account to pull out that money to buy an investment property, and then the ATO at night knocks on your door and goes, hey mate, that money is not tax deductible. Give me back all the money you claimed. But then I want to stop here right now. I know what you guys are thinking. Q, you're just trying to fearmonger us into using an offset account. We're not going to get another crisis. The bank's just not going to freeze our money in our redraw account. You're just saying that so you can get more commission by selling an offset account product. Isn't that what you're thinking, right? I'm telling you folks, for me to do a home loan with a redraw account versus a home loan with an offset account, I'm telling you right now, it's so much of an easier sell for me to convince you to use a home loan with a redraw account. Because I'm telling you right now, both products over here, I get the same bloody commission from the bank. But this product over here, it's bloody less work for me. I don't need to fill in another 5-page document to open that bloody offset account. I don't need to call the bank post-settlement to say, hey, is this account set up correctly? Is it paid correctly? I don't need to pay another admin staff to do all that work for you to get an offset account so you can build up your property portfolio and end the generational curse in your family. I simply could have done, here you go, redraw account, no annual fee, low rate, go for your freaking life. But you know what, guys? I am on this platform to help you end the generational curse in your family. Not to sell you a product which actually takes me longer to do for you and getting the same goddamn money. And this is where I get freaking angry. The mobs in Canberra, they don't care that your financial literacy is 5 out of 10. All they want to do is take your tax, take your stamp duty, take your blood and sweat, so it fuels their annual pensions when they retire. So guys, this is my closing perspective, right? Here's the brutal truth, guys. When it comes to the property investment game, it's not about what your interest rate is. The real game changer isn't about, whether I can save $50 to $100 a week in repayments. It's about whether I can structure my property portfolio in a way that I could have the right holistic lending, the right properties in my property portfolio, so that in the next 3 to 5 years, that portfolio grows to $300,000 to $400,000. And I don't know about you, I'd rather pay $50 to an extra $100 a week on repayments if it allows me to have up to $400,000 in capital growth in 3 or 4 years by this strategy, rather than saving 10 grand a year for the next 4 years and doing jack shit because I have a shit structure. What would you do? Say for example, you could save $20,000 a year by having the lowest shittest no frills rate product. 20 times 5 is $100,000. But if you have a sadly structured home loan, and yes, you have to pay an annual package fee, you have to pay offset account fees, and whatever fees you need to pay, and say that costs you an extra $50,000 in that 5 years, but with that structure, you could build a property portfolio that grew up to $400,000 to $500,000 in capital growth. Which one would you take? Because that's real investment, guys. You're gonna pay money to make money. Because I'm telling you, I'm speaking to a lot of clients these days, I'm getting the shit. I want the cheapest rate. I don't want to pay any annual fees, right? I want these banks that I've never heard of, because the major banks and all these banks, they're too expensive. But I want to end a generational curse in my family. I want to build a property portfolio so I can retire with $3 or $4 million. Like, yeah, go keep dreaming, bro. That's never going to happen for you. But anyway, let me calm down, folks. I don't want to turn this video into a rant. This video is just about educating you between a Redraw account and an Aussie account. If you want to learn more, I suggest you book a 15-minute strategy call or a 60-minute deep dive. And I promise you, if you do come with the intention to learn, I'm not going to roast you like this in the video. I'm going to be very calm and collected. But again, guys, if you want to learn more and you want to get hooked up with my financial planners, my accountants, and my independent buyers agent, they're all independent, for you to get independent advice and do your due diligence to review what you have right now so that you can find your North Star and build generational wealth, well, book a call. If not, hit the like button, hit the follow button if you want more videos like this. And most importantly, guys, smash the share button, share this knowledge to your mate, because knowledge is power. And most importantly, I'll see you in another episode of That Property Roast.